Hey everyone, Mitch coming in from the Commander's Core Studio. Welcome to the show. So on today's episode, I've got an exciting one for you with the 10 best non-basic lands under $1 for every Commander deck out there that can utilize them to great effect. There's a link in the description below to all of them. Now let's jump into them. Now, a caveat on this episode is that essentially, well, I am just going to be talking about lands that can technically be included in any deck out there, meaning they have to basically not have a color identity to them. So, yeah, no ones that produce any mana that is, well, green, blue, white, black, and red. Don't know why I said that in order, but I did. Anyway, so you might be thinking Bojuka Bog would be on this list, and it would, but again, it breaks that rule. But Scavenger Grounds does not, and it's an insane card for just 17 cents that, well, you need to pick up right now and put in your deck because it is, well, a desert, and it doesn't need to go just in a desert-specific deck, I will say that. That can tap for a colorless and pay 2-tap sacrifice a desert, which this is, of course, exile all graveyards. This is an absolute bomb just waiting to happen in your deck. It is a card that essentially goes, hey, you know what we're going to be doing? We're going to be just holding the entire table hostage for any decks out there, and there are many of them that depend on their graveyard, that use value out of their graveyard, that mill themselves, that reanimate things out of their graveyard, that, you know, have flashback cards, etc., etc., etc. There's a lot of different mechanics that work with the graveyard, and this says, yeah, no, that's not happening. What I'm doing is I'm saying, no, don't do that. Otherwise, when you need to utilize your graveyard, this is going to go bye-bye, and so will all of the graveyards. Again, there have been so many scenarios where I play this card, and it just holds the entire table hostage when it comes to any kinds of decks that need to utilize the graveyard. It says, yeah, don't do that. If you upset me, this is going to go away. And of course, if you are in a desert deck, you can obviously sacrifice other deserts instead of this one to keep doing this again and again and again. Again, a utility land that just fits in your deck, not really going to take up a spot in your deck at all, and it is so good for you. Pick it up, play it, just 17 cents. Next up, another great utility land that is fantastic in so many strategies out there. Geier Reach Sanitarium, a legendary land. I always forget that this one's legendary. Anyways, taps for a colorless, pay 2-tap. Each player draws a card and then discards a card. So yeah, again, like in a legendary tribal deck where your lands actually matter too, like a Yoshimaru deck, yeah, just having an extra legendary is nice. That being said, being able to just have a, well, card selection machine on a land, yeah, that is quite valuable for you. Now, it does potentially benefit your opponents, or it can actually hurt your opponents as well, depending on the deck that you are playing. You're playing like a Nekusar deck, and you're like, yeah, go ahead and draw cards. Ouch, haha, am I right? Or one that, you know, likes to force discard for your opponents, and you get benefits off of that, like Waste Not decks, essentially. That, too. That being said, of course, just being able to go, yeah, I'm kind of dead in the water right now. I don't really have anything to do. I've got some dead cards in my hand. Yeah, let's just get rid of some of them and draw into something better for me. Of course, you also have other ways to potentially even gain even more value. Again, certain decks out there care about actually discarding things, essentially getting things into your graveyard. There you go. That helps, obviously. But of course, also ones that can take advantage of drawing cards, doubling up draws, like Teferi's Latest Insight kind of cards. This can be so good for you. This is a card that has fluctuated over the years, been reprinted a bunch, though. Finally, just 58 cents. Pick it up right now. Moving on, one that is growing in popularity, and it should be because, well, it is just basically a reprinted copy of one of the most popular cards out there in Commander. It is just a better copy of it now. Escape Tunnel, a land that has tap, sacrifice, search your life for a basic land card by the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Oh, and by the way, also tap, sacrifice it, target creature with power 2 or less can't be blocked this turn. This is just an improved version of Evolving Wilds, Terramorphic Expanse, basically. This is the exact same card. Plus, hey, unblockability, which can be game-ending. Just a decimating effect, essentially. Yeah, you might be thinking, okay, only a creature of power 2. You know, like, oh, what's that going to do? There's plenty of things that it can do. Again, you could have a creature that you can basically get through, and maybe it's got a combat damage trigger that is quite deadly on an opponent. Or you've got one that essentially you get a creature through, and then you go, oh yeah, by the way, hatred, yeah, goodbye. Or you've got, you know, like an infect creature that can actually just start the poison counters. That's all you need so you can proliferate out, essentially. There's a lot of reasons why you might be wanting to get a creature through, essentially, and this can help you do that. But otherwise, it's just a straight-up Evolving Wilds, which is fantastic and amazing, and obviously plays for such a, I mean, for a long time now. It's one of those popular cards in Commander for a good reason, because, yeah, it's amazing at fixing your mana. And, of course, also with landfall strategies, they love any kind of fetch lands. It's a very budget-friendly fetch land, just 17 cents again with a lot of utility. Pick it up and play it right now. Next up, in a somewhat similar vein, see what I did there? No? Okay, anyways. Promising Vein! A land cave. Ooh, it's a cave. Tap for a colorless, pay 1, tap, sacrifice a search life for a basic land card from the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. Here's the thing. And this is kind of one of those things where some players are like, well, I'm not playing caves. It's like, well, that doesn't matter. It's kind of like Scavenger. It's like, well, I'm not playing deserts. It doesn't matter at all. You can just ignore that part. If you are playing with caves, cool, great. This has extra benefits for you. But if not, it doesn't matter. What matters is literally this is an improved version of the panoramas, and the panoramas were really good back in the day. Obviously, other things have come, since then, essentially, that kind of have, well, superseded them in some ways, and this is one of them where it's just strictly better. This is like, hey, you know what? Go get any of your basics, get them right into play, and there you go. Okay, strictly better for, all color decks. You know what I mean. Anyways, being able to just go, hey, you know what? I go get whatever land I want, essentially. Yes, it does cost mana to do so. Yes, you have to tab this to do so. That being said, if you need this just as a resource right away and you're okay with colorless mana, great, good for you. You can utilize it right away. You don't have to actually sacrifice this to go utilize it first. You can, instead of it being Evolving Wild, essentially, which obviously is very, very good, you can still utilize it as a mana source immediately if you need it. And then once you got that extra mana that you're just like, okay, yeah, you know what? I really should fix my mana at some point with this. Let's go get that land. Let's get that, again, landfall trigger potentially if you have it. But yeah, it is a great flexible land for you that can be so good. Again, just ignore the fact that it's a cave. If you don't care it's a cave, it doesn't matter. Pick it up, play it, 14 cents, an absolute steal. Next up, okay, I'm kind of cheating on this list a little bit, but I'm going to use Riveteers Overlook as just a placeholder, basically, for any of those Streets of New Capenna, essentially ones that, does the exact same thing, but for the different land combinations, okay? So, yeah, if you're playing in any kind of a, Jund deck, yeah, Riveteers Overlook is great. Okay, Jund or Jund colors, essentially, I should say, but obviously there's all the other ones. There's 5 lands in total in this cycle. Just pretend that if you've got a deck in your mind, essentially you're thinking about this land for, think about that other Streets of New Capenna land, okay? They all do the exact same thing, basically, but for the different lands. Land that enters the battlefield, you sacrifice it right away. When you do, search life for a basic swamp, mountain, or forest card from the battlefield, tap, then gain 1 life after shuffling your library. Because if you didn't, you'd be like, okay, let me just set my library up however I want. Anyways, being able to go, you know what? I play my land. I immediately have it go away. Again, like Evolving Wilds, just force trigger right there, basically. Go get that land that I need, essentially. Again, basic swamp, mountain, or forest. Cool. Oh, by the way, also gain a life. So, in many ways, this is basically like an Evolving Wilds that essentially just says, okay, you're a little more limited to 1 of 3 lands, but you also gain a life. So, again, life gain synergies can really help you out there. Regardless, just another way to essentially, again, filter through your deck, being able to go get those lands that you need to set yourself up in a good way. It is a cycle of lands that some people kind of forget about that exist, essentially, and they're just like, yeah, just Evolving Wilds, over expense. There's other great fetch lands like this one, too, again. Or should I say the other lands, depending on what your deck is, again, like I said, just depending on what your land situation is. That being said, go pick them up. They're cheap. They're amazing. Pick them up right now. Next up, slight caveat for this one, but again, more and more and more these days. We're getting more and more and more decks that, meet this requirement, so I'm just going to bring it up. Spire of Industry is 15 cents for this gem, a land that has tap for colors, tap, pay 1 life. Add 1 mana of any color, activate all of you control an artifact. Now, the 1 life is obviously no big deal at all. That's like, yeah, whatever, I don't care. I'm at 40 life. That's 1/40th of my life. Who cares? It does not matter. What you care about is literally, okay, I can utilize this land right away. I can utilize it whenever I need to, essentially, for that colorless mana. Again, I'm not just stuck and being like, well, I have no artifacts. This is useless. No, you can still utilize it. That's great. It's also not slow. It doesn't come to play tapped. That being said, when you do have an artifact in play, which again, I said more and more decks have, because, treasures have become a big thing that have basically come just out of the woodworks, essentially, from a long time ago to now just one of the biggest things in Commander. Obviously, clue tokens, a lot of other kinds of tokens, but yeah, if you're just playing an artifact-style deck, you can, turn 1 go, okay, I can use whatever I want with this. Great, good for me. This is such a good card, such a cheap card, just 15 cents. Again, artifact decks, or just decks that can make artifacts and can pretty consistently be able to do that for you, is a great way to essentially fix your mana in a very cheap way. Pick it up right now. Moving on, Ash Barrens, a land that is very simple and very effective and just beautifully crafted. Tap for a colorless, or it's got basic land cycling for 1, which means you discard it, go get any basic land, reveal upon your hand, then shuffle. Here's the thing. This, again, is a land that has flexibility for you. If you need that mana, you have the mana. You can do that right away. If you don't need that extra mana right then and there, yeah, you can ditch it. Again, this can be a great turn one play for you. You're like, okay, yeah, okay, I've got my lands, I know what my setup is, and okay, turn one forest, tap it, basic land cycle this away because I have nothing else to do. Cool, I know how I can fix my mana with this. So again, when you need it as a colorless resource, great, put it into play. Use it right away. If you don't, it's so cheap to just go, okay, you are whatever land I need. I can fix my mana in a great way. And of course, obviously, benefits decks that, benefit from any kind of discarding, any kind of graveyard interaction, any kind of, well, I guess tutoring interaction too. Sure, good for you. But anyways, it is a technical, another way, kind of like Evolving Wilds, all those, like, thin your deck. There is obviously a slight benefit to that. I think some players out there overestimate. Obviously, if you've got a lot of ways to essentially get a lot of lands out of your deck, it does thin your deck, and it does make it so that essentially you're less likely to draw into lands, because this kind of counts as 2 lands out of your deck instead of 1. That being said, obviously there is a point where that finally does help you, but early on in the game, maybe not as much. That being said, it is a very, very solid card for so many reasons out there. Pick it up. It's literally 4 cents. Go pick it up right now. Next up, 16 cents Myriad Landscape. Now, I will warn you with this one, okay? I disagree with players out there that are like, well, okay, I need my 10 ramp for my deck. Okay, cool. Yeah, you can have that, all right? You can have that. But 10 ramp, all right, and one of those is Myriad Landscape. No. Stop it. Stop removing ramp for your deck and being like, well, it counts because I want it to count because I've got other things I want to put in my deck. No, this is just additional. This is like the icing on top of the cake. This is not part of the cake, okay? If the cake is ramp, this is the icing on top. This is an 11th ramp for you, okay? It doesn't really count as a ramp in my book. Like, it is ramp, yeah, but it's in your lands, and it's also slower than you would want it to be for your other ramp spells, okay? You want, your Rampant Growths. Don't take away, your Rampant Growths out of your deck and be like, well, Myriad Landscape does the job. By the way, Temple of the False God's a great card. Okay, stop, please. Okay, stop. Anyways, this enters battlefield, taps for a cause, pay 2 taps, sacrifice it, go get up to 2 basic land cards that share a land type, put them on the battlefield, tap, then shuffle your library. Yeah, this is a great card. It's an amazing card. It is great at fixing your mana, though obviously this is something that newer players run into where they kind of forget to read that part where it's like that share a land type, and they're like, okay, sacrifice, go get 2 basics, and it's like, you can't get 2 different ones. They have to be the exact same. Oh, okay. It does fix your mana, obviously, in a way. It does ramp you, which is absolutely amazing. When it comes to the actual cost of this, though, I mean, it enters tap, so it's slower. It also, again, you need to pay to tap this, so you're technically paying 3 for it, really, because you're tapping this, you're not using the resource for it, obviously. So it's a slow land that does cost 3 to tap and sacrifice to ramp you. Again, it might seem like 2. You're losing 1 land, though. You're basically ramping 1. It is, again, compared to actual ramp spells, inefficient and slow. It is still an amazing card. It's an incredible card that should be played in so many decks out there. A ton of decks out there because, yeah, you don't really see ramp from lands ever. And this is a great way to do it. That being said, do not take out ramp spells from your deck and say well, I've got 10 and Myriad Landscape counts as 1. No, it doesn't. Stop that. It's icing on top of the cake. It is not the cake. Next up, Exotic Orchard. It's an amazing card. It just is. Over the years, it's gotten more and more popular. Wizards has finally reprinted it more and more, and now it is just 11 cents. Tap, add 1 mana of any color that a land and opponent controls could produce. I mean, unless you're playing in 3 colorless decks, which would do nothing, which would be kind of funny. But this is one where you're like, yeah, it's a great card. The vast majority of the time, this literally can tap for any card. It is basically a copy of yet another card I'm going to be talking about here in a little bit. But this is one that can just basically tap for any color out there the vast majority of the time. If it can't, it's still fine, okay? Chances are your opponents in totality will have at the very least, I mean, it's rare that you don't have at least 4 colors, but at the very least 3 colors accounted for between all 3 of them, essentially. Do keep in mind that this does adjust if opponents get taken out of the game. It does adjust, but there are plenty of times where you're playing against a 5-color deck and they have a certain card we'll talk about here in just a little bit, and it's oh yeah, by the way, this just taps for all colors now. Perfect. And it doesn't come into play tapped. It's an amazing, incredible card that really benefits from being in a multiplayer format. Play it, pick it up, 11 cents. It's incredible. And finally, you probably guessed it, but yeah, Command Tower. Okay, here's the thing. Unless you're in a colorless deck or in a monocolor deck, you definitely should be having this in your deck. It is a land that can tap and add 1 mana of any color into commander's color identity. It literally just like kind of breaks the game for lands, really. It's just like, hey, you know what? We couldn't really have just 30 extra copies. Like, again, they keep making like more evolving wilds. They can probably keep doing that with like different variations of them, essentially. They can't just make like, okay, we've got 35 command towers. It's like, because people would just play that then, because it just takes away like any kind of mana fixing problems that you would ever have. It just, hey, okay, what's your color, Daddy? Okay, cool. This is just like the best land for you. This is like better than duels. Like, okay, I mean, depending on the deck, and also you can't tutor for it, like basics, that kind of stuff. But still, like literally for a 5-color deck, yeah, you'd prefer this, because it's like, oh yeah, that tapped for any of my colors, which is absolutely insane. Comes into play untapped, doesn't lose me life or anything like that. Yeah, this is an insane card. It is a format-breaking card when it comes to a land. 18 cents, pick it up, it's incredible, obviously. And with that, this episode is come to a close. Make sure you comment below with your thoughts on it. And of course, as always, thanks again, and have a good one. This show and episodes like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. If you're looking for an easy way to help support this show, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. Also, hit that bell notification icon so you don't miss any new episodes. You can also go check out our playmats and other merchandise at thecommandersquarters.com. Another easy way to support this show is with our TCG player affiliate links. So whether you're buying a deck or individual cards, you can use this general link right here or one in the description. And the final way that you can support this show is by supporting us directly by becoming a patron. There are many benefits to being a patron, and I truly couldn't do this without all of their support.